I started disability studies in the 90s, early 1990s. And at that time, there were a few people with disability in the academy, most of them so I belong to the Catholic Theological Society of America, the American Academy of Religion, and the Society of Christian Ethics. So 3 academic organizations that I attend with regular annual presence. Of those 3 academies, I could say in the beginning that the only persons with visible disabilities were elderly faculty members. Today, right, 20 years later, there are young academic colleagues with disability present at these meetings. Now, not in the 15 to 20% range, but in sufficient numbers that there are sessions dedicated at these academic meetings to exploring questions about this or that disability and how do we include materials for instruction for students with disability. How do we as faculty members with disability negotiate different spaces? How with something like a traumatic brain injury is a faculty of good standing to be supported in their new understanding of who they are and how they will continue their vocation as professors. So progress is there are more people with disability in the academic associations, significantly more persons than had been when I first entered the profession. So one example is with the American Academy of Religion, which had in the, I guess it was 1995, I'm going to say, there was a call for persons to apply to be members of a task force on disability in the academy. And I had submitted an application and I was chosen to be one of the members of this task force. It was a 3-year task force that then turned into a 5-year task force. And the task force was, the purpose was to look at how the academy can be more user-friendly to scholars with disabilities who want to come to the meeting. Because if the meeting isn't accessible, you're not going to get people who have mobility impairments, for example. If the meeting is auditory only and you do not provide sign language, you're excluding people who are deaf. Similarly for folks who are blind, similarly for those who cannot physically negotiate stairs or curbs and whatnot. So the task force did its work. The academy was happy with it, and as a result of the task force, the academy now has a minimum of 2 persons from what is the status committee on people with disabilities in the profession. 2 members of the committee go to the site where next year's convention will be to map out the most accessible routes and to challenge the hotel venues and the plenary session venues, to challenge them to meet the accommodation needs of those who will be attending with disabilities of all sorts. That's great progress. That's great progress. And that happens because of a deliberate request, and probably repeated request, of scholars with disability to the academy. And then the academy finally hearing the request and really hearing it for a first time, responding to it. Because as soon as you get it, that the reason we don't have this or that population of scholars at our meetings is because they can't get here, they can't get into the building. As soon as that clicks with the non-disabled, then the doors get opened. So the progress is, as long as we keep knocking, somebody's going to finally answer.